Welcome everyone to another episode of Tips from My Garage. My name is Licia Tetonga. I'm a recovering addict. I'm the father of two boys, husband to a beautiful wife, the owner of online consulting business Upgrade Version U.0, and author of ebook Q&A Between Two Addicts. And today I want to talk to you about FOMO. So, question: has FOMO foiled your plans for a better life? And I'll give you a couple of scenarios that might trigger your memory. You might already think of one time or a couple of times where that has happened. I'll paint a picture for you. So let's say you've got John Doe. He's gone through some struggles with substance abuse, and he's decided now, hey, I really want to change my life. And so I'm going to plan this Friday coming up that I'm going to, or that he's going to give it all away, and he's going to turn over a new leaf, and he's going to start the journey to a better life. And Thursday night comes around, and his friends call him up and say, hey, we got Justin's party coming up tomorrow night, and it's his 30th birthday party, and we're all going because we're going to throw him a surprise birthday party, and we need everyone's help to be able to make sure that it's a an awesome and amazing party for his 30th. And you guys are really tight, and it's just going to be a great time for everybody. And yeah, your attendance is expected. And so now John Doe is in a little bit of a conundrum, and he starts to think, oh, well, I've got a plan to, give this life away, but I haven't really told anyone about it. So I guess because I haven't made it known public, it's only me that knows that I was going to do this. And Justin, it's his 30th party. When does a 30th party comes around but once in a lifetime? And it's only one party, and I can't really miss this one because it's a milestone. And Justin is a really good friend of mine as well. And I didn't really realize that we he was going to have this party. I don't really want to miss out on this party either because it's going to be a banger. And we're going to have such a great time. I just know what it's going to be like because of, look at all the other times that we've had together. We've known each other for so long. We've been through it all. It's going to be amazing. I don't know. That kind of a scenario. Has that or something similar to that foiled your attempts to go on a journey to a better quality of life, a better lifestyle, a better standard of living? And that's just one example. There are other types of scenarios where you would, or people would, throw the towel in or allow something else to come in, or their FOMO to take over and literally throw away an opportunity to have a better life. And I don't know if it's happened to you. If it's happened to you, and if it has happened to you, has it happened to you more than once? Have there been other occasions where you have promised yourself that you were going to do this and then just never gone through with it because something has always come up? Has that happened? Has there been a concert that has come up where this person doesn't come to this country or this state or this province or wherever I live, and that will never come around again. And if I don't go to this, I'll never be able to do it again. Has that stopped you from having a better life? Has a New Year's Eve party stopped you from having a better life? And New Year's Eve is really one of those where people want to make New Year's resolutions. And a lot of these New Year's resolutions, they start on day one, the 1st of January. And the reason that's such a bad idea is because of what happens leading up to the 1st of January. You know, if you started celebrations on the 31st of December at 7 o'clock p.m., and you're leading up to 12 a.m. midnight, can you or have you stopped, or have you just continued through the night and decided on the 1st of January, well, technically I was still drunk, at midnight and afterwards. So technically I've already ruined it. Well, at least I gave it a shot, or at least I thought about it. That's better than before, because it wasn't something that I was really considering before. So New Year's Eve is really one of those events that does take away people's opportunities to have a better life. Birthdays, parties, concerts, all of these are just examples of different events that people will prioritize over having a better life. And it's so interesting to me, and I'm so curious about it as well. I have been through that myself, and there has been a stage or a period of my life for years where I have gone around in circles, where I've told myself I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, and it just never happened. So I want to talk a little bit about FOMO and what drives FOMO. And there's a couple of things here that I feel are desires that drive FOMO, that give people motivation to throw in the towel and concede and give away the idea of having a better life. So FOMO is driven by a desire for instant gratification and for instant pleasure. I think these are two big factors for why people feel like they feel that the pains of missing out is because they know that if if they miss out, then they miss out on an opportunity for them to maybe to have some instant gratification that could, even for the time being, solve a problem for them. Maybe escape their reality for a moment so that they don't have to really confront what's really happening in their lives. And so the opportunity to escape their reality would be a huge one. The opportunity to get pleasure straight away, to feel good about one's self. Who doesn't want to feel good, and especially if things aren't really going that well in their lives or in your life. Why miss an opportunity to be able to let go and let loose and just throw away all the cares of your life and just live it up for the moment. I mean, you're never going to have this moment again. And this mentality has sabotaged so many people's plans to to have a better life, to go on another journey, to reach into the unknown, and to elevate themselves, and to live a higher standard, and um, to have higher values. This has been detrimental for so many. The other thing that drives FOMO is connection. And so there's if it's an opportunity where you can be with others, where you can be a part of your tribe, where you can connect with those on a level, even some people would call it on a deeper level, because you are engaging in the same uh, things, whether it's drinking or doing drugs, or whether it's music or dancing, all of these things together, they help you uh, to form bonds, and when you're in that mindset or in that headspace as well, where you're in a state where it's where you're accompanied by those that you love. There's nothing better when you're in the moment. There are things that you can take, or drugs that you can use, or alcohol, or whatever it is, that can help you to form deeper connections with others. But it's really interesting is because you only feel like it's a deep connection when you're under the influence, but when you come off it, it's like you're in a stupor of thought. Your mind is depleted. You reflect upon the time that you have, and there's nothing really there. It was all superficial. Yeah, that's the ironic thing about it, is like when you can be on that level where you start talking like you think you're making the most sense that you've ever made in your life, and everyone around you is also connected on that same level. And then the next day is like you're looking through your phone, and it's like, who's who's Joe, who's Mike, who's Sarah, who's Jessica, like all of these things. It's like, I don't even know who these people are. It's really fascinating. I mean, the amount of phone numbers I think I have in my phone of people that I don't know. I think I still have some of these people in my phone number, who in my phone, that I have actually no idea who they are. And so, I mean, I think it is pretty funny, actually. But yeah, and so the other thing that I think drives FOMO is scarcity. It's the fact that you don't know whether it's going to be there again. You know, and that's why events like concerts, like birthdays, like New Year's Eve, like some of these events come once a year. Some of these events are longer than that. And so it's the scarcity. It's the fact that you never know whether it's going to happen again. That will drive you to want to be there, you know to partake, to not miss out on the moment, because you never know when this moment is going to be. Because you can always reflect back on these moments and be like, oh, yeah, I don't have a better life, and my life isn't going that well at the moment. I got a lot of problems right now, but hey, that concert though, that was so dope. Do you remember that, man? you know I can remember it like it was yesterday. It was just so amazing. But I guess if I was to ask you a question, it would be, is that was that worth it? Like, is that moment in time where you had such an amazing time at this one concert that was once in a lifetime, is that worth it? I think that there were people that would say that it is worth it. Yeah, absolutely, because it is once in a lifetime. And I could see that. I could see that. But, if hypothetically you had made another choice, and that decision that you made to do the other thing, where you chose the higher ground, and you ended up having a better life with that, that would definitely have been worth it. But you never know. You never know. The reason that people fail with FOMO is because they have a lack of discipline. They they also don't have the right support that they need, and they also have the wrong people in their lives. And I think these are the three biggest reasons why people give in to FOMO, and why they think, why it's a better idea for them to do the thing on the day that's going to give them the instant gratification, rather than delay it and then get something better later. It's because they're ill disciplined. They don't have the right support in their community, and they have the wrong people around them. So if you can imagine, like, if you are one of these people, there's no one else to support you on your journey. No one else knows that you want to go on a journey, um, that you want to have a better life, and you want to give up the things that you're doing now so that you can have something better. If you have nobody that knows about it, then no one's going to be supporting you, and you're in it by yourself. And when you're in it by yourself and you don't have the discipline, then it just will never happen. You got a group of friends that you've been running with for years, even decades, that are pressuring you to do this one thing. You got no one in your corner to support you in going another direction, and you only got you, and you're not very disciplined. This is going to be a failed situation 10 out of 10 times. You're not going to go on your journey. You won't make it. You won't go on a journey to having a better life. And so the antidote to FOMO is going to be delayed gratification. And delayed gratification in this day and age, it just seems like it's less and less. People are less and less disciplined to have delayed gratification. You have to be disciplined, and you have to make sacrifices. And if we look at what sacrifice is the surrender of something desired for something of greater or higher worth. So that means that you're actually putting off something good for something greater. In this day and age where you can get everything, well, everyone preaches that you can get this now, and also with our own desire to be instantly satisfied, and to have things now. We live in an age of convenience, and convenience means that you get things the quickest way possible. We look at things that take a while to do as hard and difficult and too much. So we stay away from those things, even if it means that it's going to help us to be better people. If it's going to help us to have a better life, we don't go that route, because we prefer the route that is easier, that is simpler, even if it means that we don't live a better existence. We have a mediocre existence. We will still put up with a mediocre existence if we can still get the instant pleasures that we desire, that we believe that we need all the time. 10 times out of 10, we will choose to get the fix now. It's easier for somebody to delay gratification if they have been doing it for a longer period of time, and especially if they've started when they were very young. It becomes more and more difficult for people to delay gratification if they never learn how to do it, and they've become an adults, and they're used to getting things instantly. It makes it very difficult for somebody like that to want to sacrifice, or to delay gratification, or to delay pleasure, because they've been so used to getting what they wanted immediately. And so they'll try to find different ways to get their pleasure straight away, so that they never have to miss out. And I think that if people like that could, could live like that, where they can get the instant gratification straight away, they would never change. They will continue to find the easiest way to do things, even if it means that they're going to live a mediocre or a less than mediocre lifestyle or livelihood. So how do you combat FOMO? How do you make a better decision when you're confronted with a decision to make, where you come to a fork in a road and you have a choice to either get the pleasure straight away or forego the pleasure and go in the other direction and get the pot at the end of the rainbow, but you have to stay on that road for a little bit longer? How do you do that? So I think that there's a couple of things that you can do. If you have the right support in your corner, that know that they're in your corner to help support you for these specific reasons, that's certainly going to be helpful, and especially early on, and especially if you're ill disciplined, because rather than having to fight or to combat uh, these these situations by yourself, and also where you possibly be overwhelmed by negative influences in your life, if you've got somebody that's going to be in your ear, that's going to say, hey, we're in this together, you remember the reasons for why you're doing this, if you make the better decision here, this is the part at the end of the rainbow that you get for delaying the gratification, for being more disciplined, for sacrificing. Sacrificing is such an important principle for us to be able to learn. Working at something without seeing results for a long time, but you know that the work that you're doing is meaningful and purposeful, these things grow you. They change you. They teach you things that you wouldn't otherwise learn. They teach you patience, they teach you kindness, they teach you resilience, they give you wisdom, they give you experience, and these experiences that you will take from these learning moments, or these learning stages that you're going through, they will be repurposed into other areas of your life and help you to become better in many areas. You can take things that you learn from one lesson, and if it's a good lesson for you to learn, and if you learn something like, for example, discipline, if you learn how to be disciplined and delay gratification in one area, then you can learn how to delay gratification in other areas that's gonna help you in different aspects of your life. And so things that you learn that are positive for you almost always have a multi-purpose, where it has another function in that you can take that same thing and apply it into something else, and it's gonna work out for you there as well. Sacrifice, that's one. You learn how to sacrifice in one area, you can learn how to sacrifice in another area, and those things also produce other types of learnings. You learn other principles, you gain other experiences, you gain more and more wisdom. You're going to gain so much more out of delayed gratification and sacrificing than you will about giving up or conceding to your natural tendencies and urges. That doesn't teach us anything. Actually it does teach us. It just teaches us that delaying gratification is hard and difficult and doesn't work for us, and we don't need to do that. And then, so if we don't get what we need straight away in one way, then we become very creative in finding other ways to gratify our pleasure. and our natural tendencies. If we don't learn to put off instant pleasure for a better return down the road, then we will never improve our lives. You cannot improve your life by living on the principle that instant gratification is the way to live. That the way that we should our lives should be, we should be able to get everything that we want straight away. You don't learn anything from that. And if you never learn to put that off, and if you never learn to be disciplined, or to put things off, or to sacrifice, then you'll never have a better life. If you have a mediocre existence, it will never get better than that. And some people will be okay with that. Some people will be like, yeah, I'm cool with that. I don't need to be like, I don't know, better than what my existence is. I'm pretty cool with that. And that's cool if that's where you're at. You know, we do only have one life to live though. And, you know, do you want to get to the end of your life, and when you're on your deathbed, look back at your life and regret not taking the opportunities you had to have a better existence, or to have a better life, or to improve on your relationships, or to improve on your health, you know? Or would you rather get to your deathbed and say to yourself, I lived the best that I possibly could. I I gave it my all. I I learned as much as I possibly could. I became I became the most that I possibly could. I made a lot of mistakes. I took a lot of risk. I failed a lot, but I am contented. I am at peace with the things that I with the way that I had lived my life. Those are two different experiences that us as human beings are going to have. We're going to have either one or the other of those experiences. Either we're going to be regretful of the life that we lived, or we're going to be at peace with the life that we live. And if you don't think that your life is the best life that you could live, then what could you do to change that? And is now the time to do that? And is this the time to make the the change, and to find the right people to have in your corner, and to find the right support so that you can do that? Or is this the, no, I'm good with it, I can live it out like this? um I want to leave you with one scripture, and that's from Proverbs in the Old Testament, and it's chapter 16, verse 32. And I'm just going to paraphrase, but basically it says that he that ruleth his spirit is mightier than he that taketh a city. And I think that that is so true. Um, the biggest battles that we are going to have are going to be the battles that we have within ourselves. And I know that there are so many things in our lives that some external forces that put pressure on us. But if we can be the rulers over ourselves, then and we can be in control of ourselves, then we are working from the inside out. And when we change the things that are within us from bad to good, then everything that we project outward is also going to be the same. And conversely, it's going to be the same. If what you got inside is bad, then you're going to project bad outward as well. Anyways, I hope that was helpful, and I'll see you on the next one.
1, 2.